everybody, and welcome back to the Up the Guts podcast. Joining as always is your host, Trent D'Alton. And as I record this, it is Sunday afternoon. And as it is the split buy round, and we don't get a game till 3:20 p.m., I believe it is, today in the Alice Springs. I thought, and then another game at 7:20 p.m. I thought I'll do the games that have already been played and rank them up. And then I'll finish off the other ones tomorrow, so we'll transition, then come back and rank the other ones tomorrow, as I always do. But for now, we will be doing the games that have already been played and ranking them on a tier list, as we always do. And if it's your first time listening, make sure, obviously, first of all, to share this to a mate and leave something in the comments. If you want to have a discussion, like in the comments of a comment I may have said, where I've ranked someone, if I've made someone harsh, leave yourself in the comments, and I will get back to all comments on the video, or even if it's on the Spotify comments as well, because you can comment on there too. But if it's your first time listening, this is how I rank them. So top of the tier list, S column is excellent. So and it goes by each round. A column is contenders. B column is decent, and this is harsh, but C is disappointing. And then 5 a.m. St Kilda Beach is the bottom one. So that's how I rank him on every round that goes by, and it's not by the season, it's by the round. I want to stress that. Out. So without further ado, let's get into the round 12 games that have already been played, starting off with the Thursday night game between the Brisbane Lions and the Bombers. Let's go. All right, so the Brisbane Lions and the Bombers played out on Thursday night at the Gabba, and it was it was the Lions who got the job done. Now, I didn't notice in my preview episode too, if you watch that on YouTube, I said I am going to be going with the Bombers this one, and then put a Brisbane Lions logo up. I meant to say Brisbane, so apologies for that. But Brisbane, again, did get the job done by 18 points in the end, with Lohman kicking 3 and Morris kicking 2. Caddy showed some really good signs for the Bombers with 2. Wright and Martin also kicked 2. And the interesting one, that Lions came out and kicked 6 goals to 1 in the first quarter. So this is different. They came out and showed what a dominant factor they are. But it's a game where Essendon can't be very disappointed, I think. I had in the chat with Connor in our group chat, he said this is a win. This is like a win for us, that we're able to come back and hold on and not have it let it blown out. In previous times, Essendon would have let this game being blown out with an overrun by a Bombers side. But they were able to keep it in. Hugh McCluggage, can we just talk about the season that Hugh McCluggage is having? He's having an unreal season, all-Australian calibre season. I think he's their best midfielder now, their X-factor midfielder, the person who he can play on the inside and he can play on the outside, which is so valuable to have. He had 41 disposals, 7 clearances, 13 inside 50s, 2 goal assists, and 12 scorables. He was absolutely phenomenal. And Will Ashcroft also had 30 to go along with 80% efficiency and 7 clearances. And I think the Essendon midfield is so much better when this guy is up and about. And he's had a good season, but he's been interrupted with an injury in the middle there as well. But Jai Caldwell is an absolute stud, in my opinion. 30 disposals, a goal, 8 tackles and 10 clearances. Just gets the real grunt ball in now there. Martin's spending some more time in the midfield, and he's looking like he's capturing that with both hands, and showing what he can be as an a midfielder that plays centre bounces rather than on a wing, a half forward or a half back. He had 29, but the most important impressive thing about Martin is his ability to impact the scoreboard. So he kicked 2 goals going with that after kicking 2 goals, I believe it was. Yeah, 2 goals it was last week as well. Merritt played a bit more of half back. He had 28, 8 rebound 50s and 562 metres gained. That's something I want to talk about. I've heard mixed opinions. How do you guys, Bombers fans, more in particular, how do you feel about Zach Merritt playing off the half-back line? Now, I understand Zach Merritt, beautiful ball user, so I'm not 100% opposed to it, because he can give that, obviously, with the defence being so down that they were all the outs they had, he can provide that drive for the half-back line. But I just think he's such a good midfielder sometimes too, that you need him in that centre bounce rather than playing a half-back and leading from the front. As a captain, you want them leading from the centre circle and around the contest rather than from half-back. But then you also could say he can see the full part of the ground, so you can see it from or the whole play is in front of him, and the ability he can have to run off and use that elite ball skills is good, because their up and coming midfield is really good too. So Sam Durham, I mentioned Jai Caldwell, Nick Martin's gone in there now. Archie Perkins has spent a bit more time in the midfield this week and last week as well. Ben Hobbs is developing. Still got Elijah Sardis there. So I'm 50-50 with it, but let me know what you guys think. As we move on, speaking of Sam Durham hurt his ankle in the first quarter, but he did come back on and interestingly played out the rest of the game, out of the goal square. And he actually looked quite damaging with the limiting factors he could have, because he was clearly struggling. He was very sore. I think if they didn't quite have the injuries, they might not have played him. But what they did, they put him out of the square. He'd only collected 6 or 8 disposals, but he did kick a goal, and he tried his hardest to make a contest when the ball came down to him. So that was interesting. Jade Gresham also was another one who pulled up, who was sore during the game. So they had them both playing out of the square, which was an interesting thing to say. Caddy showed some really, really special highlights. I mentioned that before, the kick over his head as well. Stay with this kid. He's going to be an absolute... I don't want to say the word star. He's going to be a great player, I think. Obviously undersized. He's 193 centimeters, but what he makes up for that is he's got the reach, the long arms, takes the ball well out in front, has a really good leap on him, and I can almost see him developing into someone who can run through the midfield even a bit too. I know he's did that in his under 18s year, but at the moment, playing forward or even like a high centre half forward, you could have him doing that because he's so valuable with when he marks it out in front with the leap that he's got. So that's just an interesting to it. And I mentioned Jai Colwell before. His third quarter is when he really turned on. He had 16 disposals, 7 clearances, and a goal just in that third quarter. But as I said, Brisbane Lions were obviously too good. As I look at this, I don't want to put him in excellent. I'm going to put him in contenders, but this is also a Bombers game where they don't want to be disheartened by, because I thought they put in a solid effort with the amount of play, with the players that they had on, and obviously a shortened backline. So I am going to put him in decent, and I'm tempted to put him in contenders, but we're going to put him in decent for now. Friday night game, it was the Pies v. the Hawks at the MCG, and the Pies got the job done by 51 points, 16-11, 107, defeating 8-8, 56. And led by one of the players who's having an all-time season, Jamie Elliott. He kicked number 5. He kicked 23 in 6 games. As we read about it, where is he now? Let's have a look. Is he still... So he's equal on top of the Coleman with 33 goals with Jeremy Cameron. Jeremy Cameron obviously yet to play as yet, so that probably will change. But he's kicked 23 in 6 games, and the most Jamie Elliott's ever kicked is 39 goals in a season. So the fact that he's already kicked 33, showing what a dominant display he's had. The involvement of the pickup of Membry has allowed Elliott to get off the chain a little bit, I think, because Membry takes that second tall and allows Elliott to. Because even though Elliott's not tall, he plays tall, but he can also play small as well. So he often gets the better defender. They had 5 defenders play on him during the night. They started with Josh Battle. Josh Battle couldn't keep up. Then Josh Battle did have a solid game intercepting wise, but Jamie Yard definitely had the better of him. They tried Jack Scrimshaw on him. They tried James Sicily on him. They ended up switching Blake Hardwick and James Sicily in the second half. And then Blake Hardwick went to him, and there was someone else that I can't quite put a finger to, but they definitely tried fighting opponents on him, and he was just absolutely phenomenal. What a great season he's having. I just hope that he doesn't suffer an injury and he can play out the whole season, because he will be such an influence for the Pies as the season goes on and as it comes into September. Mychek also kicked 4. Sidebottom again. He can go around again next year. He kicked 2. Lipinski also kicked 2. Jack Ginnivan just loves playing against his old side. He had 3 goals in the first half and finished with 31 disposals for the game. It's an equal career high, obviously equal with last year's game against Collingwood when he had 31 and 2. So he just knows how to play, obviously playing with them before. He loves coming up against. He loves getting a bit of cheeky with them, and some Hawks fans would say, geez, we wish we could play Collingwood every week, or I wish Ginnivan could play Collingwood every week if he's going to put performances in like that. But yeah, that was great. I mentioned Sam Hardwick, switch Blake Hardwick and James Sicily at halftime. Nick Dacos had 32 touches, a goal, 6 tackles, 2 goals, and 10 score moments. I mentioned Sidebottom, he had 27 and 2. Josh Dacos had 24, but Ned Long again continues his form with 24 disposals, 11 tackles, 2 goals, and 10 score involvement. I wonder if the Hawks are brewing ever to listen to him. Although, in their defence, he never really did anything at the Hawks, but was he given the opportunity? I don't know, but sometimes this is a diamond in the rough that they found in Ned Long here, the Pies. I really like Josh Ward for the Hawks. I actually like the way he plays. I saw him when he grabbed the ball and fended off a couple of players and really tucked it on his arm and ran and carry. I like the way he plays. And Connor Nash was huge with 25 disposals, 14 contested, and 9 clearances. But the way that the Pies got this done, obviously they ran over them in the last quarter. But prior to that, it was their efficiency inside forward 50. So from 44 inside 50s, the Pies scored 27 scoring shots, which is huge compared to Hawks' 45 inside 50s, only 16. So that will be that's clearly where they got on top there, and Hawks will want to work on that moving forward. Lockie Schultz finished the match with ice on his hamstring, so they'll probably want to be precautioned with that as he's only recently just come back from a hamstring. And Pat Lipinski did suffer a concussion after a big hit from Lloyd Meek. Has been cleared, which I'm even though I'm a Collins supporter, I'm happy that's been cleared. A bit of common sense into that. It was just clumsy. It wasn't terribly late. He was already kind of committing to it before he'd marked the ball. So I'm happy that the MRO has stolen the common sense and let that go. As for the rankings, I'm going to put the Pies in excellent. I'm going to put the Hawks, they were in it for most of the games, so they're going to go in decent. Then we move over to the Saturday games, and this might be the upset of the round. It is Gold Coast v Fremantle at the People First Stadium in wet conditions. Fremantle, one of the most frustrating teams going around, get the job done by 11 points. For the Gold Coast Suns, Flanders kicked 3 and Walter kicked 2. I wonder what's going on with Flanders. He obviously spent some time at half-back last year. Then in the second half of the year, went inside the midfield. Now he's stuck on a half-forward flank. He was so damaging playing off half-back. Obviously, they've got the people at half-back now, but I don't see him going through the midfield as much now. So it's just an interesting watch. Obviously, clubs were interested in him, but then the Suns did show some faith by playing him regular games. And then now he's stuck back on a half-forward flank. So I think it's a bit of a watch with Flanders. Bolton was enormous with 3 goals and 20 disposals, Patrick Voss, I've mentioned how much I love him. He kicked 3. Noah Anderson just continues his form. What a star player and leader he is. Couldn't get his team over the line, but did all he could with 39 disposals, 22 contested, 12 clearances, 7 inside 50s, 8 score involvements, and 840 metres gained. Rioli tried hard with 27 and 7 intercepts, and Real had 27 disposals, 15 contested, 8 clearances, and 30 tackles. Brayshaw also having another big year, 30 disposals at 80% efficiency to goal on the goal. Clark off the back line, finally running, carrying, 30 disposals, 10 intercepts, 11 rebound 50s, and 813 metres gained. Sarong with 27, and Jackson playing as a ruck, but also as a another midfielder when nearly said Sam Darcy there. When Sean Darcy went in, he had 27 disposals, 21 hitouts, and 7 tackles. So it was obviously it was a wet condition game, so it wasn't much to write home about. But what we can write home about was Leo Lombard's first goal and the celebration we had. Don't we just love? That's probably the most excited I've seen a player after kicking their first goal, and I absolutely loved it. The emotion that he showed. We saw him when he got drafted, drop the F-bomb on live tally at the draft, which was humorous. But yeah, I've never seen someone celebrate like that, and it was just heartwarming, which it didn't end well. Obviously, he did get subbed out and was not happy about it, might I add. Who would be happy about getting subbed out? But I just love that Leo Lombardi shows he's someone with real energy and real passion to play the game, so that was really good to see. As for, I think you got to put Freo in excellent. They've gone over to Gold Coast at People First Stadium where they don't lose and beat them there. So I think just purely for that, you've got to put him in excellent. Gold Coast Suns. Oh, I'm going to put him in decent. I'm actually going to put him in decent there. We move over to the other game, another team that are frustrating to support and heartache for the Tigers. The GWS Giants get it done by 3 points in the last quarter, 12-8-80 to 10-17-77. That 17 behinds really cost the Tigers a big win against GWS at NG Stadium. It would have been a real crossroads and it would have been firing at the Giants and Kingsley. Brown has really shown some signs these last 2 weeks. He kicked 3. I like the way he plays, takes the ball at a high level, and he's such a good athlete. Cadman was flying everywhere, kicked the 2. Riccardi's had a good couple of weeks too, playing a bit of second ruck as well and pushing up the ground. I really like to look at that. He kicked 2. Stilly Green for the Tigers kicked 2. Lynch kicked 2. And Taranto also kicked 2. 2 in the first quarter, might I add. He was really good. Ash had 36 disposals at 86% efficiency. Tom Green had a goal, 30 and a goal 30 and a goal. Whitfield 28, playing a bit more half forward. Whitfield, so it's interesting to see if they continue with that. Obviously, they're happy with Lockie Ash behind the ball doing most of the work. Connor Iden, obviously they got a good defence now, but they're happy with the way Lockie Ash has developed into a player. I believe Ash is only about 23 years old, so they're happy with how he's developed. So they said, okay, we can play around with Lockie Whitfield a bit here, and that's something that they've tried these last 2 weeks. He had 28 at 86% efficiency, and as I mentioned, Connor Iden 25 at 88% efficiency. The meatball, Dion Prestia, wind back the clock to a game that we're more than likely know of him. 31 disposals, goals, and 7 clearances. Hopper was enormous for the Tigers, just was getting clearances after clearances. He had 29 disposals, 17 contested, a goal, 13 clearances, and 10 inside 50s. Banks just continues to impress with 25 disposals at 92% efficiency and 7 score involvements. As we mentioned, heartbreak for the Tigers, who led for majority of the match. They led by 28 points at three-quarter time. But then the Giants came, and the Giants can't be happy with that performance. Like, okay, they got the win. I know Tom Green was very, very open in his post-game interview, which I love. I love Tom Green, how open he is. He says it how it is. He's got, obviously in the Green Room podcast, but even in interviews, he says it how it is. He said, we played awful in the first quarter. We played awful most of the game. And they asked him, Kingsley gave you a spray, gave you guys a spray, and one of you in particular. And he goes, yeah, and it was very much well-deserved. I was playing awful. We were playing awful. And we can't be, we get the win, but we can't be happy with the way we performed out here. So he's very open, and I love that about players that are like that. Tom Green is one of those players. But yeah, trailed by 28 points at three-quarter time, the Giants, but they just found the way to wheel themselves in. But the news out of the game, sad news for Callan Ward, who suffered at what looks to be an ACL injury in the first quarter, which may be career-ending here. So this year, I actually found out earlier, just probably about a half an hour before I started recording, his family's actually living in Victoria, Melbourne at the moment. This season, because Callan Ward wasn't necessarily going to go around this season, but the Giants convinced him, and he's like, okay. So they're living in Melbourne, he's living in Sydney, and he's flown home to Melbourne after this injury, which is never a good sign. He's 35 years old. If an ACL is confirmed, I think this will be the last time we see a Callan Ward. And what a warrior Callan Ward has been. Obviously started off at the Bulldogs, was nicknamed the Cement Head for how hard he attacks the ball, was an inaugural GWS Giant player, captain for a long time. He would have a couple of BNS, I reckon, and just the heart and soul of that team. And what the best part of seeing that was, as I just noticed my blue chip is on, I'll turn that down in case something comes through. But the best part was, he's out of the game and his career might be over. But three-quarter time when the game is on the line, he grabs the team and gives them a final speech. He's not worried. He's not dwelling on the fact that, my career might be over. He's like, no, I'm here to help my team, our team, win the game. So that is just the type, and from what I've gathered, it's the type of person Callan Ward is, and it's such important to have that type of person around the footy club. So sad news. Thoughts goes out to Callan Ward. I hope he recovers well, and I hope this is not the end, but it doesn't look very convincing. So Giants, you have to go in decent because of that. And hot take, Tigers disappointing for do I want to say disappointing? No. I'm not putting him disappointing. I'm going to put him in decent. Sydney v Adelaide, the SCG, Saturday night before we even get started. Sydney, 5 a.m, St Kilda Beach. What the hell was that? What the hell is going on? Adelaide Crows, straight into excellent. There is not much to talk about on this game. The Crows, got the job done by 90 points. Have a listen to this straight kicking, though. 21 goals, 131. That's huge. And on the other end, Sydney with the inaccurate kicking of 5, 11, 41. Sorry. 5-11-31. McLean, the only goal, kicked 2. Rochelle and Keys kicked 3 each for the Crows. Fogarty, Thilthorpe, and Cumming kicked 2 for the Crows. McInerney, I've mentioned, he's playing a bit more midfield time. 27 disposals, 18 contested, and 5 clearances. Brodie Grundy did battle hard with 23 disposals, 38 hit-outs, and 8 clearances and 5 tackles. But one player I want to highlight as one of the better players on the ground was Mark Keane. He was absolutely everywhere. 23 disposals, 10 marks, and 15 intercepts. And he's really putting together a really good season. Honestly, was at Collingwood, went back to Ireland, then Crows got him as he came back and wanted to play again. But he's having a really good season, as is fellow defender Josh Worrell. He had 24 disposals, 9 intercepts, and 7 rebound 50s. But yeah, there's not much really to talk about this game other than the fact is what the hell is going on at Sydney. At the start, I said no Goulden, no Swans. But it's past that now. I get it. There's no Goulden, there's no Amati, there's no McDonald. So there's no forward line there. Goulden, there's no Papley. You could probably keep naming them. Mills rubbed himself out. There's plenty of players that are not there. But it's past that now. That was embarrassing. That was actually embarrassing. Like, they need to pick themselves up and do something about this. Dan Cox, he looked distraught after press conference. He looked almost depressed with what he was going through and what he just witnessed. But that performance was just so embarrassing. The fact that people wasted their Saturday night for you to put together that performance. The fact that Sydney supporters went to the SCG. You were in the grand final last year. Sydney Swan supporters came to the SCG to watch you host the Adelaide Crows, and you put together that performance. That is utterly embarrassing and disgusting. I don't know what's going on there, but they need to figure it out real quick. But that is all the games that have been done as of so far. As we'll go through the rankings at the moment, I've got in the excellent category Collingwood, Freo, and the Crows. Contenders: Brisbane, decent, Essendon, Hawks, Suns, Giants, and the Tigers. And 5am St Kilda Beach, Sydney Swans. I don't even want to talk about them anymore. But that's it for the games that are done now. I'll see you guys again on Monday when I record it. Well, you'll hear the transition here. I'll jump over it. You'll hear the transition in a second where I'll join you guys back to recap all the Sunday games. I'll see you guys in a bit. Yes, guys. Okay, now it is Monday evening. We've seen the 2 Sunday games that have been played. Just done all the other games as you've seen, but now it's time to preview the the 2 Sunday games that did happen. So let me just grab the rest of my notes up for the games as we go down here. So Melbourne v St Kilda at TIO Stadium, and it was the Saints who got the job done by 28 points, and Melbourne was very, very disappointing. They kicked themselves out of this game with 7 goals, 21, being their total for the day, which kicking like that is never going to win you a game. Petrarca was the only multiple goal kicker for the Ds with 2 goals. He also had 22 disposals and 5 clearances, so he tried his heart out. As for the Saints, they welcomed back Dan Butler, and he came back with a bang, kicking 4 goals. Keeler had an absolute come of moment type of game. Had 2 in the first quarter, finished with 3. And Max Hall, I thought, was really instrumental. They're young up and comings, which is really good to see. He kicked 2. As for disposals, Callum Wilkie was a brick wall, and I know he's an All-Australian, but I think sometimes everyone forgets just how good Cal Wilkie is. He's an undersized. He's almost like an undersized key defender. If he was. He's not one that you would think could be able to take his monster. He's only 193 centimetres, so you're coming up against the likes, I'll say Thilthorpe, he's 200 centimetres. That's just for example. Melbourne obviously don't have a key forward at the moment, but Wilkie was absolutely phenomenal. 31 disposals. He got 90% efficiency, 15 marks, 11 intercepts, and 9 rebound 50s. And when the game was on the line, Melbourne just seemed to keep kicking into his area, which I can't quite fathom. Wanganeen Malira had 29 and 795 metres gained. He was so instrumental, especially in that last quarter. He copped a bump from, and we'll see if Aiden Johnson is in trouble for his bump, Wanganeen Malira, in the second quarter, where Wanganeen Malira did leave the ground for 15 minutes to go through a concussion test, did return to the field, and geez, did he have an impact, especially in the last quarter, constantly driving the ball forward for the Saints. In the last quarter alone, he had 15 disposals, 4 marks, 3 rebound 50s, 2 inside 50s, and 400 metres gained. So he was absolutely instrumental late. Marcus Winhager was another one who was really good. Obviously, he had the job set to play on Cozzy Pickett. Not only did he keep Cozzy Pickett to 12 disposals and, most importantly, goalless, he had 28 disposals himself at 82% efficiency and 5 clearances. That's a big tick for Ross Lyon and Marcus Winhager on the informed Cozzy Pickett. Would not have been used to a midfield tag being played on him, obviously used to defenders playing on him, but someone who's just annoying him around there. We know because he does have a bit of a temper as well. So that was a big tick there Hill also had 26, 13 marks, 7 rebound 50s, and 678 metres gained. Sinclair just loves getting the footy for fun. He had 25 at 84% efficiency. Now, we mentioned the inaccurate kicking cost the Ds, and just you're never going to do it like that. But the captain continued his form too. Forgot to mention he tried hard. He had 30 hit-outs, but he also had 22 disposals and 6 clearances. And you can't knock May with as much as he did. 21 disposals, going 100% efficiency, 10 marks, 8 intercepts, and 8 score involvements. Only sad note for Saints was Philippo just coming back from injury the last few weeks and starting to build in some form. He was subbed out halfway through the first quarter with an ankle injury. This brought on the former Blue Jack Carroll for his first game for the club. So while that's a highlight, it's a low light to see a young up-and-coming, they're hoping star for their team in Mateus Philippo going down with an ankle injury, being subbed out. I mentioned Isaac Keeler was important in key moments. He finished with 3 goals, 10 disposals, and 6 marks. There's just something about him just really has a crack. So as for the rankings, I'm going to put the Saints, I'm going to put them in excellent because they've gone up to Darwin and done that, Alice Springs and done that. And Melbourne, they have to go in disappointing. That is just absolutely woeful, kicking 9 goals, 21, and their home ground. Now let's move over to West Coast v Geelong at Optus Stadium. And it was Geelong who got the job done by 43 points, but the Eagles weren't terrible. 11 goals, 73, defeated by 17 goals, 14, 116. Oscar Allen put in a real captain's performance. This is his best game this season and best game to date for a while now. He kicked 4 goals, had 3 in the first half, did the best he could for them. Jack Williams also kicked 2. Jeremy Cameron kicked 5, and 4 of those goals coming in the last quarter when the game was on the line. Enter Jeremy Cameron kicking the 4 goals for the quarter, as I mentioned, to finish with 5. So when the game was on the line, just kick it to Jeremy Cameron and he does the rest. It was kept quiet for most of the day down there. As we mentioned, and we keep going here. Myers was also instrumental with 2, Stengel with 2, and Jack Henry with 2. Baker played a really good game also for the Eagles with 29 disposals. Cole had 24 and Duggan had 23. Bailey Smith had the ball on a string. He finished with 38 disposals, a goal, 5 clearances, 8 inside 50s, 8 score volumes, and 834 metres gained. Got off the chain in the first quarter, especially where he had 15 disposals, 4 clearances, and 4 score volumes in the first quarter alone. Then for the first half, he had 25 disposals, a goal, 6 score volumes, 5 clearances. They put a hard tag of Brady Hoff onto him, which nullified his impact a little bit, only allowed him to get an extra 13 disposals in the second half, but the damage was already done by then. As I mentioned with Jeremy Cameron in, it was only 7 points they led early in the last quarter until Jeremy Cameron did that. So as I said, the Eagles can hold their head high, I think. So as for the rankings, I'm going to put Geelong in contenders because I can't knock them. As of yet, I really like the way that they played. But I'm also going to put the West Coast Eagles in decent. I thought that was a really solid performance by the Eagles on that one. So it's something they can write home. As I mentioned, Harley Reid is another one who is getting better. As I just pull up his stats and that goal that he kicked, he's just really building into the season now, playing as a centre bounce midfielder. And I've said this so many times, he's not going to get the big amount of disposals, but what he is, he's going to have impact on the game. So he had 19 disposals, 1 goal, and 7 clearances around the ground. So that's a really good game, I think, for Harley Reid and something he can build off. Well, there you have it, guys. There is my review of the round 12 action. Let's just quickly go over how I rank them. So at the moment, I have, at the end of the episode, I have Collingwood, Dockers, and St Kilda all in the excellent category. In contenders, I got Brisbane Lions and Geelong. Decent, I got the Bombers, the Hawks, the Suns, the Giants, the Tigers, and the Eagles. Disappointment, the Demons. Inaccurate kicking cost them the game. 5 AM St Kilda Beach. I don't know why I've got it like that. Let's just get rid of that. 5 AM St Kilda Beach. I've got the Sydney Swans, and I've ranted enough about them when I recorded on Sunday, so you would have heard all about that. But that's going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you guys for listening and watching this. If you did enjoy this episode, make sure to leave a like and comment on the video. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn the notification bell on so you don't miss an upload as we race towards 200 subscribers. And if you listen to this on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, make sure to turn the notification bell on so you don't miss an upload. Hit that follow button, and most importantly, share it to a mate, and please leave a 5-star rating as that does help get the show going. Thank you guys for listening, and until next time, I'll see you guys then.